All right, I'm going to film the changeover between the small O-rings and the larger gaskets. We're going to start by actually running one of the smaller O-rings so you can see that the system's running. I know you've seen it already, but I'm just going to run one real quick here. I'm going to set the system so we bring the O-ring down so that it's ready to go. And then you just start. Alright, and there you go, it's a small one. The gasket, you see, there. Alright, so then what we're going to do is we're going to shut the system down. I'm just going to turn this off temporarily here. We don't need it. Okay. So basically, this is the state that the system is going to be in when you go to transition to the larger gasket. You would hit the stop button, okay, home all, and then you'd have to come onto the other side. You can see that there's a gasket laying on the conveyor. You would have to come over to this side. There's a door that we're reworking here so that we can add a safety interlock. That's being worked on right now and should be done shortly here. But you'd lift this up, you'd pull out the gasket here, clear it, okay, and then you'd put the door back down. And then you shut the air off. I shut the air off just so I'm not draining my system. Actually, you could technically leave it open. There's no issue with leaving the air running. But so I'm going to then remove this. I'm going to show you what would happen if you had to purge the system. So I'm just going to assume that the bag is broken and stuck in there by ripping this, and then you would, let the O-rings come down here, lay it down so you can find the beginning of the next one. So just move that over there, and then you can see that there are some O-rings that are still in here. Then you would come over here to into the main panel, hit devices, and then gasket purge. I'm going to push gasket purge, and you can see that the O-rings then get purged out. So when they're purged out, then you can stop that, and you may need to go on the other side, open the door again, and make sure that the gaskets are not caught up in any of the mechanism in there, in the conveyor or anything. So at that point then, what you do is open the door here, and then you'd have to do the changeover. So what we've got is we've made up a gauge that basically helps you set the distance needed for the thick O-ring, and then this one is for the thinner O-ring, or excuse me, the thicker gasket and then the O-ring here. So you can see on the inside here there are screws, a total of 8. There's 4 on this side, 2 silver, 2 stainless ones, and then the 2 black oxide ones, and then same 4 over on this side. First thing you do is to loosen the silver ones, the stainless steel ones. Basically these are kind of like the jack screws, so you just loosen them up by hand and just back them up, a half dozen times or so, 6-8 times. It's just need to get them out of the way so you can set the distance. So you reach in here. Oh, this one. Yeah, I gotta. So loosen that one up. Okay, so just back that one out. And then what you need to do is back out the lower screws, or the black screws. Okay. This one. Okay, so loosen that one up, and then Loosen this lower one. Okay. Maybe 3 or 4 times, something like that. Just want to give yourself enough room to back the whole system out. Basically what you're doing, you can kind of see this, is you're loosening the O-ring, this system here. So you want to pull it out so that you've got some distance, and then you'll use the gauge here to set that. So what you do is you'll run it into the gap in the back there. Make sure you've got enough gap. You might need a little more. There, and what you're doing is you're basically setting the gauge between these 2 silver jack screws, and then with the other hand you just turn down onto the gauge, and you'll feel it'll start to tighten up. Okay, and then you just kind of twist. You may need to loosen it a little bit there, and then you just pull the gauge out. And now that distance has been set, but you still need to run these jack screws in. I'm not going to tighten those just yet. Just kind of finger tight, because I want to be able to, I don't want any interference when I go to adjust the opposite side. So let's loosen this. Maybe a little more. Okay. You'll feel there. Now you got the gauges in, and then you run the black screws in until you feel it's tight. Actually, it doesn't need to be extremely tight. You can, I mean, a few thousandths, up to 10 thousandths play is probably fine. Okay, so now I felt it's cranked down on there, so let's remove this. The gauge, finger tighten this. Okay, and same over here. Okay, and then give it a good snug tightening here. Okay, and then this side over here. Okay, now the distance has been set for that larger gasket. We'll close the system up. Load the gaskets here. There. Okay. Feed them up and over, kind of like you normally would. So you feed them so that you just feel the engagement of the O-rings, and you push the green button that's on the side here, and then the system will load automatically until you hit the sensor down there. Then you'd have to make the adjustment to the conveyor. So this has got to come up. Now this conveyor system is going to be attached to your conveyor system, so it wobbles a little bit now, but it'll be attached to yours, and that will shore that up. If we need to, we can always make a bracket and drive this thing into the concrete. So for the large cans, we're going to run this to about 9 3/4.